Ito ang nakakagimbal na balita na trending at pinag-uusapan ngayon sa mundo ng social media. Kapapasok lang na balita kung saan nag-viral sa mundo ng social media ang tila pagkakaroon ng pagtatalo ng ilang mga liderato ng Senado matapos umanong mahuli ni Senator Dante Marcoleta ang umano'y bulok na galawan ng bagong Senate President na si Tito Sotto na tila ba sunod-sunuran na lamang aniya sa utos ng House Speaker na si ROMUALDEZ. Pero bago tayo magpatuloy ay kung bago ka pa lang sa aking channel ay huwag mo nang kalimutang mag-like, comment at mag-subscribe para lagi kang updated sa mga bago nating video. Naghain ng motion si Senator Dante Marcoleta upang ibalik sa Senado ang dating Assistant Engineer na si Bryce Hernandez. Iminungkahi ni Senator Marcoleta na agad na ibalik si Hernandez sa Senado hindi dahil ito ang kondisyong ibinigay sa kanya kundi upang alisin ang pananaw na kapag nandito siya sa Senado ay hindi siya ligtas. Una nang pinatawan ng contempt si Hernandez sa pagdinig ng Blue Ribbon Committee matapos nga itong magsinungaling sa kanyang pagsusuga sa malalaking kasino. Inakusahan si Hernandez na gumagamit ng peking pagkakakilanlan upang makapasok at makapagsuga sa mga kasino. Subalit hindi pinirmahan ni Senate President Tito Sotto ang nasabing motion ni Marcoleta. Kaya tila nagkaroon nga ng gulo sa Senado matapos na magtalo ang ilang senador kung saang kustodya nga ba dapat mananatili ang dating Bulacan Assistant Engineer na si Bryce Hernandez. Kaya naman narito nga ang full video kung saan ayon nga sa ilan nating mga kababayan ay tila halata na masyado itong si Tito Sotto na sunod-sunuran na lamang ito sa utos ng House Speaker na si ROMUALDEZ at ang naging mainit nilang sagutan ni Senator Dante Marcoleta. Narito't panoorin natin ang full video.
Senator Nag-Kainitan is recognized.
Sir President, on that
Minority
point,
Leader is recognized.
may I know, Sir President, will that be the new rule? Because under the present rule, kung sino may jurisdiction, siya yung magde-decide. So for example, siya ay incarcerated under RTC. So magpapaalam tayo sa RTC kung pwede natin hiramin. So nagpaalam sila sa atin kung pwede natin nila hiramin yung witness. Kasi insulto po sa atin yung sabihin may mangyayari sa kanya dito. Unang-una po, 24 tayo na lahat independent. Sinabi na rin po ng Senate President na ginagalang natin na independent ang Senate. Never naman po nagkaroon ng problema dito. ZTE, Pangulo pa. I remember dito, munti kaming maghablutan, if Senator Lacson remembers, with former Congressman Andaya, with our other witnesses, with Secretary Neri. Di ba, parang may PSG pa atang pumasok, whatever, no? But we were able to handle it well and come to a conclusion. My point, Mr. President, is this. What if the reverse happens now? What if we borrow a witness from the House? Papaya, is that the new rule now? Na PNP custodial na or makikiusap tayo pabalik sa House? Because I don't think we should change rules without doing it either in caucus as a group. But I see the wisdom, Mr. President, of your immediate action. I'm not questioning your immediate action, Mr. President. I'm just asking, moving forward, shouldn't we keep the old rule na kung sino may custody, yun ang mag-keep nung custody niya, Mr. President?
Yes, and that is the decision that the presiding officer made last night. Indeed, you are right. He is in our custody. Now, what we did yesterday was what we call parliamentary courtesy in accepting the proposal that he be not returned here but still under the care of the Senate. Now, in the issue of, let's say, keeping it here or the previous tradition that the Senate may cite in contempt anyone and keep him here. We have also placed a witness to Muntinlupa, if you will recall.
Yes.
We also even sent somebody to the Pasay City Jail. So I don't see any reason why we cannot commit this particular fellow to the PNP Custodial Center. But then again, I will leave it to the decision of the body. That was my decision last night. But if there is something that is a new decision that you would want, I will throw it to the body.
Mr. President, I respect your decision. And I will tell you if I don't. I have always been honest and told you what I thought, no? And I do agree that certain decisions have to be made right away by the Senate President at that point. And you do not want a constitutional crisis or ayaw natin mag-agawan ng witness sa gitna ng and perception is important. Kung nakipag-agawan po kayo o tayo kagabi, it would appear na baka may katotohanan yung sinabi about senators kaya pinipilit natin dito. The problem is, meron din kasing perception tuloy that by not having him back here, baka nga totoong ini-influensya natin. But from my point of view, from my limited point of view at this point in time, when he was here, no one was talking to him from the Senate panel. But according to Senator Marcoleta, he got information that the witness was being asked to single out senators there. So only God knows if Senator Jinggoy is the good one or the better one. Only God knows the totality of accusations against Brother Joel. But what do I know? I know na si Brother Joel, 2016 pa lang, 2017, when I left the Senate to go to the DFA, speech na ng speech to tungkol sa flood control eh. Even President Duterte had a speech na ang problema ko, DPWH. Never tinago niya ni President Duterte. Nandun yung po, nasa Facebook, nasa TikTok, na sinasabi niya baka may ghost project pa. 2022, to be fair to our new chairman of the committee on the Blue Ribbon Committee and the Senate President, you weren't here at that time, but I'm sure you monitored it. Tinuturo naman yan ni Secretary Bonoan kung bakit nagkaganon yung budget at ba't suddenly lumaki na naman yung budget. No? So the point is, Mr. President, perception here matters. Tomorrow ba or the next day, we will announce, I think Malacanang has already said they will announce a independent commission. The minority has not discussed whether we will support it or not. Personally, I support it. But just like Ferdinand Marcos Sr., he always asked the opposition for one member. Kasi kahit gaano ka-independent ang members niyan, kahit anong integrity niyan, tao pa rin yan Pwedeng may agenda pa rin yung mga yan. So we will discuss in the minority. For example, kung maglalagay sila doon, do they commit? Hindi sila tatakbo for national office in 2028. Baka may integrity nga. Gagamitin naman yung commission to run in 2020. Will they sign also that wala silang conflict of interest? Because some of the credible people now being interviewed are part of conglomerates and are working for oligarchs that also have their interests, maybe not in infrastructure, but on other things. So ang point ko, Mr. President, na-disrupt yung sistema ng corruption, which is good. Pero ang ginagawa pabalik ng mga corrupt, dinidisrupt din tayo Dinidisrupt din yung mga nag-imbestiga. That's why yesterday, I'm happy we have a consensus, the majority and minority, that we should continue our hearings. Iba yung sa House. I mean, wala tayong pakialam doon. If we agree with it or not, nasa sa kanila yon. Kung nag-iimbento sila o totoo sinasabi nila, yan ang sistema Democracy is messy. Tayo po dito, respetuhin din nila. Kung may problema sa miyembro natin, 24 naman po tayo. We call out each other and we find a way to still have coffee or merienda together in the lounge. Sometimes not for 1 week because we're upset at each other. But that's the system, Mr. President. So again, Mr. President, I support, I acknowledge your right and the wisdom of deciding that last night. But personally, I don't know my companions in the minority. Personally, labanan ngayon ng perception Tutuloy ba yung mga hearings? Sino ba ipapatawag? Kakampihan ba natin mga senador? Porque kapwa senador yon. Pwede ba magsalita yung iba? Kasi dati siyang DPWH. Kasi dati siyang speaker. Dati siyang All of this will be there, Mr. President. No? If only we could have the speeches of Senator Lacson in like yesterday in such an orderly manner. Ba't hindi po ganun pagka pag nandiyan na yung mga witnesses Ang katotohanan po nun, kung 10 yung witness, unless we have 1 witness at a time, pero kung 10 ang witness, 10 ang senador, you cannot stop any senator kung sino tatanungin niya doon, Mr. President, di ba? So yun po ang problema lang, that since this involves high-ranking people and the PNP is not under the Senate, it creates another perception who controls who. But thank you for informing us that PUSAA is there and they're looking at that. No? But Mr. President, sa akin lang po, kung babaguhin yung rule, so I acknowledge you're not changing the rule. You made a decision and is throwing it back. But kung babaguhin yung rule, I think we have to discuss it thoroughly. Because nga, masyadong mabigat yung accusation ng DE ba? Assistant DE na takot siya dito or whatever. Kasi Mr. President, ang dami na natin naging witness dito kung sino-sino inaccuse kapwa senador Never know. I think, when I was Blue Ribbon Chair, I just remember si Jun Losada natulog pa sa couch sa opisina ko. Sa baba, I think I only visited one witness once. Otherwise, hindi So, anyway, Mr. President, thank you for your patience in hearing us out. But may I defer to the chairperson now of the committee?
Yes, before Senator Ping Lacson is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. With all due respect to the distinguished minority leader, there's what we call legal custody and physical custody. Lawyers know this, Mr. President. As long as the Senate retains the legal custody over the person of Bryce Hernandez, the physical custody is of no moment, Mr. President. Whenever we need him, we'll just direct the PNP Custodial Center to deliver him here. And if the House of Representatives will be needing him, they will have to ask our permission. They cannot go direct to the PNP and tell them to bring the person of Bryce Hernandez to the House of Representatives. And this is not a new rule, Mr. President. We have committed Alvin Balag to the Pasay City Jail. We have committed persons cited in contempt by the Senate in other detention centers. We're not changing the rules, Mr. President. So that's my manifestation, Mr. President.
Minority Leader, go ahead.
Tama po si Senator Lacson na may legal at physical custody. Pero it's always the committee and the Senate who decides the physical custody. So in the case na sinabi yung Pasay City Jail, it was the decision of Senator Dick Gordon and the committee na doon ilagay. In fact, ayaw nila Yung mga kinulong doon, gusto nga dito. In this case, it is the witness, Assistant DE, saying, wag niyo akong dalhin doon, tapos siya yung nasunod. So the issue here is not only the physical and the legal custody. The issue also is the integrity of the Senate, the perception that if we don't have him here, de lahat na lang ng witnesses sasabihin wag tayo doon. Paano kung wala rin silang tiwala sa PNP? Wag sa PNP, lilipat natin sa NBI. The peculiarity of this case is that it wasn't the House, nor the Senate, nor the PNP, nor the intelligence community making the request. It was the witness.
I beg to disagree. It was Speaker Martin Romualdez who was asking me.
Yes,
I
Mr.
did not talk
President.
to the witness. I did not hear him say. It was only Speaker
Mr. President,
Martin.
it was live in the hearing. Bago siya magsalita, sinabi niya, pwede ba, mga congressman, wag niyo akong ibabalik sa Senate dahil may mga, hindi ako safe, may mga senador doon. Ang sabi ng congressman, magsalita ka muna. Meaning condition pa nila, magsalita ka, saka na. That's why I think, in fairness to the speaker, no, I don't think this is his personal
I don't think he
wishes.
was also present.
Yeah,
Much the same
yes,
as
yes.
I did not hear that.
Let me clarify that, Mr. President. I
Yes.
don't think it's his personal request. I think he was conveying it as speaker to this chamber in the same manner na pag may request kami sa House, either the majority leader or the Senate President will request it. But hindi naman po alam ng tao na ang request ay formal eh. And again, hindi ko na question yung kagabi, but all over the news and live, yun po ang lumalabas, yung witness ang nagdidikta na wag niyo ako ibalik sa Senate. Ano ba experience niya dito? Ano ba ang ginawa natin sa kanya? Di ba?
Wag siyang ibalik sa Senate for detention. Pero
Yes.
we will never allow that he not be brought here back
Agree-
when he
agree, Mr.
needed.
President,
As a
but-
matter of fact, if you move for for him to be returned here, we will return here right away.
Agree, Mr. President. Ang problema kasi he gives the impression na pag dito, mapre-pressure or may kakausap sa kanya eh. Yun yung impression ngayon eh. Which I think is unfair to all of us. I'd love for him to name senators here para ma-confront natin na siya. But anyway, Mr. President,
Yes,
I think we
okay.
vented I don't know the pleasure of my colleagues. So may I yield to
okay.
Senator
So
Marcoleta?
just to ventilate more on what the minority leader was saying, let me just place on record so that the public will know. You know, we have Section 6C of the rules of the Blue Ribbon Committee. It's very clear. It says a witness cited in contempt may be ordered to be detained in such place as may be designated by the committee alone or with the concurrence of the Senate President. Or either.
Just on the rules, we've done this already in the past, and we have not deviated from the rules. But if our good colleagues would like to discuss this further, maybe in a caucus after the speeches, we could have a caucus and discuss, Mr. President, if we want him back here or we will keep him in the PNP Custodial Center,
Yes,
so that we can continue with the debates.
We'll continue with that. But before I recognize Senator De La Rosa or Senator Marcoleta, again, for the concern of the minority leader, the People's or the Independent Commission that is being created, we leave it up to the executive. That's their problem. But in the Senate, I have filed since August 16 the Independent People's Commission. Perhaps your concern can be addressed in our own bill. I hope very soon we will be conducting a hearing of the matter.
Yeah, both, Mr. President, because if you remember, during the time of Ferdinand Marcos Sr., there were independent commissions, and the opposition, and we are the new opposition here,
Yes.
advocated that. But I am studying your bill, and I thank you for filing it, Mr.
We
President.
can include that. We can include that. And this bill will be a lot better than the executive order because the executive order can be shut down by the Supreme Court. But especially Section 4 of the proposed executive order. But in Section 4 of the Independent People's Commission, we are practically addressing that already right there in the bill. All right. Thank you. Senator, are you giving way? Senator
you, Mr.
Marcoleta is
President.
recognized.
May I have the permission, Mr. President, to read your letter addressed to the House Infrastructure Committee dated September 8, 2025. This is to formally approve your request for Mr. Bryce Hernandez to attend your hearing tomorrow, September 9, 2025, 9 a.m. at the People's Center House of Representatives. We expect that he be returned safely immediately after the said hearing to the Senate. So this is very categorical, Mr. President. Their request that he be called for hearing in the House of Representatives was conditioned upon his safely return to the Senate. There is no need for a motion, Mr. President. I was still the chairman of Blue Ribbon Committee at the time, and it was very clear that we committed him to the custody of our Sergeant at Arms. Not in Quezon City, not anybody else. And so, as already asked by Senator Alan, we're not supposed to change the rule. I move, Mr. President, that he be back immediately to the custody of the Senate, not only because this is the condition that you gave them, but more importantly, in order to erase the perception that if he is here in the Senate, he is not safe. I will reject the idea that if he returns in the Senate, manganganib ang buhay niya. It is as if that we're giving credence to his statement, which I believe is not true, Mr. President.
Mr. President.
Majority Leader.
Yes, Mr. President, with due respect to our colleague, Senator Marcoleta, there was an intervention. Actually, he was supposed to come back to the Senate, but the Speaker of the House had intervened and asked if he can be kept in the House, which you did not agree. And you said that we will put him in the PNP Custodial Center under the custody still of OSA and the Senate.
Legal custody of the
Yes.
Senate.
So
still.
when he wrote the letter, Your Honor, wala pang intervention. So walang kasalanan dyan si Senate President. He was going to bring him in, but we are not bending any rule.
But the
Because the Senate
request-
President already has said the rule.
Mr.
which
President,
allows
the
us-
request of the Speaker of the House of Representatives is inconsequential here. Legal or otherwise, the custody must be here. They are only asking us to lend him to their committee. the legal custody is still acquired by the Senate. And then the committee was the one who ordered him to be legally detained in the custody of the Senate. The committee was the one who did that, not the Speaker of the House of Representatives. He could request that. But we are sorry to deny that
Maybe,
because
Mr.
legal
President,
custody,
Mr. President, yeah.
legal or physical, is still with the Senate.
Mr. President, I
Yes.
think the points raised by Senator Marcoleta are valid. There's just, I think at the time, the witness had no fear of his life, but now he has fear of his life. We will guarantee that he's safe, even if he's in the Senate. No, so we're guaranteeing his safety if he's here in the Senate. But let's also be transparent, Your Honor, because I think the question there is, kung meron bang mag-influensya pa sa kanya.
That
Diba?
was the point of the
Later on.
minority leader.
Correct.
There might be a perception that if he's here, he might be influenced by someone. That is also
Correct, Mr. President.
the minority leader made mention of that.
And that's why I believe the Senate President made the decision to keep him in a neutral area, which is the PNP Custodial Center. But then again, Mr. President, we're a deliberative body. If the body would wish him back here to the Senate, then we can discuss it further.
Mr. President, just a quick intervention.
Go ahead, Senator Lacson.
I would like to echo the earlier manifestation of the majority leader. Yung letter po ng ating Senate President was valid before the intervening event occurred. So we cannot invoke the letter of the Senate President kasi wala pa yung intervening event na mayroong request from the Speaker of the House. And the Senate President, using his own wisdom, granted the request, but we have not given the legal custody of Bryce Hernandez to the House. We still maintain or retain the legal custody over his person. And as I mentioned earlier, kung kailangan siya ng House, they will have to seek permission from the Senate
Again,
President.
yes, so they are not in
Thank you, Mr.
custody.
President.
Yes,
Mr.
Senator De La Rosa,
President.
yes, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Mr. President,
You know,
Let Senator De La Rosa speak first. Go ahead.
we have a very sad experience, Mr. President. Because if the reason why the Speaker requested for Bryce Hernandez to be detained not in the Senate, because for fear of being influenced by anybody or any member of the Senate. Alam mo, Mr. President, Colonel Grijaldo, nag-testify dito sa ating committee about the wrongdoings of the members of the Quadcom. Nagsumbong siya dito, Mr. President. And after he read his statement, sabi niya sa amin, Sir, can I be protected by the Senate? Dahil alam kong pinag-initan ako ngayon ng House. So, I share the information to the committee and even to the leadership of the Senate. But the following day, or the days after, he was required to appear before the Quadcom and he was cited in contempt. Nang siya na contempt, kinulong siya doon. At nang kinulong siya doon, look what happened. Binubombard siya doon, pinupuntahan siya doon at sinasabihan na huwag yung gusto namin na mangyari, gawin mo na para makalabas ka na dito sa kulungan. Hindi nag-give in si Colonel Grijaldo, kinulong siya hanggang natapos ang 19th Congress. Ano sabi sa President? Sila ay takot sa kanilang ginagawa mismo. Hindi po yan gagawa ng Senado na mag-impluensya ng resource person. Never pa nangyari yan na mayroong pumunta doon sa baba, tinakot yung nakakulong, cited in contempt na resource person. Gawain nila yan sa House of Representatives. Ginawa nila kay Colonel Grijaldo. Kaya huwag tayong basta-basta bumigay sa kanila dahil we should be independent from them, Mr. President. Hindi natin sila dapat sundin kung anong kagustuhan nila. We have to stand on our own. Thank you, Mr. President.
Mr. President,
Yes, Senator Marcoleta.
noong pong September 8, 2025, ako pa rin po ang chairman ng Blue Ribbon Committee. Ang Blue Ribbon Committee po ang nag-approve ng legal and physical custody nung ma-cite in contempt si Bryce Hernandez. Nung makiusap po ang Speaker ng House of Representatives sa inyo, di po ba dapat nakonsulta naman ng chairman ng Blue Ribbon Committee? Dahil kami po, ginawa namin yon through the collective wisdom of the committee. Hindi po namin gawa-gawa yon. Kaya lang namin siya sinite in contempt sapagkat halos ipamukha na namin sa kanya ang mga datos. Ibinigay ko na sa kanya ang lahat ng ipinanalo at ipinatalo niya sa kasino. Pati yung ginagamit niyang dalawang ID na galing sa LTO, ayaw pa niyang aminin. Ganun po yung nangyari. Gusto lamang namin siyang turuan ng leksyon para sa ganun kahit papano baka maisip niya na dapat sana mapahiya na siya sa sarili niya kung meron pa siyang kahihiyan. Dapat naman sana nung siya mag-request ngayon sa House of Representatives, hindi po sa kanya dapat manggaling ang request kung saan siya magko-custody. Ang custody po yung natapos na. Nagsalita na po ang Blue Ribbon Committee. Bakit po hindi man lang nakonsulta ang Blue Ribbon Committee? Bakit kailangan po ang House of Representatives Speaker ang mananaig sa kanyang request? Kalabisan na po ba Blue Ribbon Committee noong araw na yun, Mr. President?
May I be clarified on what date that transpired? Yesterday or
September 8 po.
Monday?
Yes, Mr. President.
Majority Leader.
Monday was the hearing here in the Senate. Monday he was cited in contempt. But the hearing in the House was on Tuesday, September 9.
Yes, those
And as,
Tuesday. So in the evening, when yesterday, no. So in the evening, when the speaker called me, Senator Marcoleta was no longer chairman of the Blue Ribbon.
No more, because we had already elected
It was already Senator Lacson.
Lacson, yes.
Ibig bang sabihin po, Mr. President, nawawala ng visa yung ginawa namin?
Hindi. He's
Ganun po pala.
He's still in legal custody.
Dapat po,
Therefore-
igagalang po kung ano yung aming iniwan.
Yes, you're...
Doon tayo magsisimula.
Ang iniwan ninyo, cite in contempt.
Hindi
And
po.
legal
Nasa
custody
legal
of the
custody
Senate.
na po ng
He
ano,
was
ng
still
House.
under the legal
Ng,
custody of
ng
the
Senate.
Senate.
Mr. President, may I ask for a minute suspension?
Session suspended.